Okay, today I'm trying a different style of video recording. I'm just going to record directly into the phone without using a microphone today. So the sound qualities can be just a little bit worse off, but I'm a little bit pressed for time. And so I'm holding the camera on what's it called, a little stick. So you're going to see it just juggling around a little bit. Today I want to talk about weight loss, high performance, and emotional management. Now, I want you to imagine uh, a garden hose, and let's say the hose is about this long. I mean, it's obviously longer, but you're going to water the garden, and here's the end of the hose, and you're holding here. Now, let's say you can't control how fast the water's coming out, how much pressure there is, and you're not holding it at the very end of the hose, but kind of like maybe a foot and a half back. Now, what's going to happen when water comes through that hose? You're not going to have any control over where the direction the water is going. It's just going to be spraying all over. Now, I want you to keep that picture in your mind and just imagine a little child that has been born. That's how we are in terms of our emotions. They're very unregulated. They're just all over the place, completely driven by whatever is happening in the moment. What happens with a human being is that through socialization, the child learns to control that hose more and more as time goes by, so that as an adult, hopefully, they can grab the hose there instead of there. However, we all have different challenges, and there are times when we break down and we lose control over the end of the hose, and we're holding the garden hose back here, and thus we become irrational. There are two things that have just happened in my life which illustrates this quite nicely. I was trying to get to my daughter's house the other day, and I have to take the tram and the train to get there. And I went out to catch the tram, and it didn't come, right? And it was very, very frustrating, because if the tram doesn't come and I had a ticket for the train, I was not going to catch the train on time. And what happened was I left early so that I know that I would be there on time, or at least I thought I would be there on time. So I left like 45 minutes early. I could have actually walked to the train station in about 30 minutes, but I thought, oh, I'm a little lazy. I'll just take the tram. And what happened was the tram never came. And by the time I realized it wasn't going to come, I was already too late to catch the train. And of course, I was super stressed. So what did I do? Well, I regulated my emotions through eating chocolate. Do you see how that works? So when you get super upset about something, or at least when I do, I'm not holding the hose here. I'm holding the garden hose back there. And then that just made me want to comfort eat. And I'm sure we've all been there before. And today, I was driving into work because I thought, okay, well, I can't really trust the tram and the train, so I'm going to drive to work. And I'm helping my daughter out for the next couple of weeks at her house. And she lives about in theory, only a little bit over an hour's drive away from Oslo. And I'm pressed for time, so I'm going to get up early, come to the office, and do this recording that I'm doing now before I start work. And so I get up really early, like around 3:45, because there's just driving into Oslo at rush time, you just end up sitting like 2 hours in traffic. So I thought, I'm going to beat the traffic by getting here early. And I leave early, and lo and behold, what happens? There's road work. And we get, put into this wonderful little maze of having to have to drive around the road work. And so I lose 45 minutes. I could have just stayed on the highway and driven like um, within the same amount of time. It would have taken me 15 minutes to drive the 45 minutes when I had to do the what's it called? I forget the name. The route where they rerouted everything. And so I'm sitting there and I'm feeling really, really upset. And as I'm feeling upset, I'm reflecting upon what happened yesterday and the fact that I actually overate because the 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 tram didn't come and the train didn't come. And obviously, if I keep overeating, I'm never going to lose weight, right? And so it's a bit of a dilemma. And then I realized, well, if if I'm in a bad mood now, how's this going to affect my eating patterns later on today? Well, I'm going to probably start wanting to consume something to make myself feel a little better. And this is where state control comes in. I can't allow myself to be in a bad mood, and I can't allow myself to focus on the fact that there was road work. And this actually has implications far greater than just following a healthy diet or lifestyle. Because anytime you want to really produce something to be highly productive, there's always going to be something outside of your control that is screwing things up. And if you're feeling bad, you're going to default into behaviors that makes you feel good in the moment because we're trying to get that dopamine up inside our brains or in our bodies and make ourselves feel a little bit better. The solution is being able to control your state and being able to realize that I cannot control the fact that there's road work. I can't control the fact that I have in the past developed unhealthy habits in terms of wanting to indulge in food in order to make myself feel better. That is a very important realization to understand. What I need to do when I'm starting to feel out of it and feeling a little bit down, I need to take back control. And the best way to do that is to ask yourself, well, what do I actually have control over? Well, I don't have control over the amount of time it takes to reroute, end up driving 45 minutes instead of a 10, 15-minute drive. So there's no sense in getting really, really upset, even though I did really get upset. I was imagining calling the people, yelling at them, and I wish I was like someone of great importance, had a lot of power, where I could say, what the heck are you doing? Fix this problem. But I don't have that kind of power, and I don't want to be that kind of a person. Like, I don't want to be an asshole, in other words, treating people poorly. What I need to do when I'm feeling bad like that, as I just mentioned earlier, is I need to focus on what do I have control over. And what I did was I did a mindfulness type of practice where I could just feel this pressure here in my chest, and I'm feeling really bad about that feeling in my chest. And I'm just getting in touch with that feeling, noticing the feeling, and just being present with it. But I'm not encouraging the feeling or amplifying the feeling. In other words, I'm not thinking, oh, this is so stupid. I'm running out of time. I'm going to be stuck in traffic. My whole day is going to be ruined. No, I'm just being present in the moment with the feeling. And what happened was that as I did that, suddenly I noticed that the feeling stopped being so painful. And this feeling is actually frustration because I had a plan. I had something I really wanted to do. I wanted to get early into the office and set up the studio so I could make a proper video. Now I have to kind of like do like a cheat video where I just record it off my camera because of the time constraints. I don't have time to set up the studio that I want in my office. So I just need to do more of an impromptu sort of studio. And I hope it works out fine. what I did then is, as I was present in these uncomfortable feelings, I started noticing that just by being present and accepting, the feelings started to dissipate. And now I'm in a pretty good mood. I'm feeling good about being able to produce this video for you. And so I changed my state. I changed my state because I was reflecting upon the fact that yesterday, when I was feeling really bad, that's when I broke my diet. That's when I started indulging in overeating foods that I shouldn't be eating. And I don't want that to happen today. In order to be consistent and gradually lose weight, that is my goal, right? It's not going to happen if I let my mood or whatever is happening in life irritate me and make me frustrated and feel sad and bad. In other words, let my mood go down. I'm never going to reach my goal if I let that determine my ability to live my life and to follow through on my goals. What I did then is, as I realized this while driving the car, I I started thinking about the fact, well, how can I change my mood? And that's when I became mindful of the emotions and the feelings. So this is another plug for mindfulness. If you haven't learned it, I want you to follow the video that's going to come after, or that I'm going to connect to this one, or it'll be in the description. I haven't actually made that video yet, but it is coming. And by incorporating mindfulness into your daily practice, it will help you regulate your emotions. Suddenly, you're not holding the the hose here, way back here, but you're holding it at the very beginning of, or at the very end where the water is coming out. And also, you'll be able to regulate the pressure as you learn to meditate. It's taken me 63 years to understand all this, so I hope that you guys can learn this much quicker than I have. Another thing I did while driving the car is I'm trying to anticipate the day, and I realize that I'm going to feel hungry. Because I'm helping my daughter out, I can't follow my normal routine of having my last meal between 3 and 4 because she has little kids and I want to be part of the family when we're eating dinner. So I decided to, instead of my last meal be eating between 3 and 4, I'm going to have my first meal around 1 or 2 where I have a little sandwich or something, and then I go back to her place and then we have dinner together. And I failed at that yesterday, obviously, but today I'm going to succeed at doing that. So that means I'm going to be pretty hungry. And it's here where I'm living right now in Norway. It's around 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to be very hungry before 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've already started imagining how I'm going to meet that part of myself that wants to eat. Remember, there are parts of ourselves that are operating unconsciously and automatically. So when that hunger starts to come up, I'm just going to say, there you are, hunger. Nice to meet you. Thank you for telling me I need to eat. And I'll just comfort it and I'll quiet it down. So what I'm doing is, hunger is kind of like making my hand go back and making my emotions happen. And whenever you're feeling bad, if you want to feel worse, start feeling sorry for yourself. If you want to feel better, accept the feeling, but don't amplify it. Just say, there you are, feeling. I see you. I acknowledge you. You're there. Because sometimes feeling bad is actually feedback about something that's wrong. And sometimes feeling bad is feedback about an expectation that you have, or something that you thought was going to work out the way you wanted got thwarted in some way. And sometimes feeling bad is more about you're breaking a habit. You're not doing what you usually do, and you start to feel upset or bad. That's why we always say that self-development has to happen outside of your comfort zone. And what's happening then is I'm moving my hand from here to here as I'm comforting that part of myself that says, oh, you need to eat. This is really bad. Oh, you should feel sorry for yourself now. And I'm avoiding that by taking control of accepting the feeling, by anticipating the feeling will be there, and building up a new part of myself that is very confident that I can deal with the negative emotions. And that's why I say that one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself in your life is to do a lifestyle change. If you're not exercising enough, if you're not going to bed at the right time, if you're not having the right habits for living your life the way you want, then you definitely need to learn how to regulate your emotions better, and not through whatever substance that you're using, not through any food that you might be consuming, not through chatting endlessly with someone, but being able to go inside yourself and acknowledge that those feelings are there. And there are two techniques that I'm going to emphasize in this video that I've already talked about. The first technique is just being present, being aware of the feeling and accepting it. The second technique we're going to talk about is self-comforting. In other words, you're anticipating that the feeling is going to come, and you imagine it not being you, but a part of you out there. And that part of you that's out there is trying to influence you to act against your best interests. And instead of making up an excuse as to why you should give in, you're trying to comfort it. You're trying to bring it down. You're trying to make it relax, trying to make it feel better by imagining it as maybe a little child who's upset or an animal that's scared, and you're using your tone of voice and you're imagining you're stroking it and holding it and comforting it. And in that way, you learn to self-comfort. And that self-comforting will allow you to gain control over that uncomfortable feeling. And this will generalize eventually, allowing you to be able to handle many, many other situations that are very difficult emotionally. And we're all going to go through emotional stuff, right? And negative emotional stuff. So it's important to realize that this is a skill you need. And especially if you want to continue being a high performer, someone who gets stuff done, and also living a healthy lifestyle. Because a lot of people get a lot of stuff done, but the cost they pay is tremendous. They end up with lots of psychosomatic stiffness through their body. They may be triggering autoimmune disease or some other disease. And by just being present in the moment, using mindfulness to be part of the emotions that are, and accepting the emotions that are there, or learning to comfort yourself and give yourself a cognitive emotional strategy for calming your nerves down. These things are extremely effective and will not lead to psychosomatic disease or other disease, unless, of course, I'm not advocating that you can cure everything through your mental attitude. I'm just saying your mental attitude can make you more resilient and keep you stronger and healthier longer. I hope all this makes sense. If it does, go ahead and hit the like button, give me a comment, let me know what you're engaged in, because remember, this channel is all about you.